Welcome to Copeland. I'm Dan. I'm at a friend's farm today and I thought I'd walk around the property and talk a little bit about how to make better use of your time as a homesteader. So many homesteaders that are like, oh, I can't work a full-time job and homestead. How do you do it? I don't have time for the chores. It's too much. Well, chances are you've set up your homestead in a way that requires a lot of manual input. And that's not leaving you much time. So the solution is you've got to stun your property. What does it mean to stun your property? Stun is an acronym popularized by Mark Shepard, and it stands for sheer, total, utter neglect. And just like you think it sounds, you neglect your property and you let nature take its course. And the strong varieties and species survive and the weak ones die. And then you replant and the strong ones survive and the weak ones die. And eventually you've got a system that works on its own. So let's talk about that. Most homesteads are set up with their garden full of annuals. Requires planting each year, mulching, weeding, watering. You got to deal with insects, diseases, and then you've got to harvest it. Perennials, on the other hand, don't require planting each year. You plant them once, they grow up, they drop their leaves, they mulch themselves. If they don't get enough water, they die. If they're drought resistant, they thrive. If they get disease, they die. If they're resistant to the disease, they thrive. If they get destroyed by pests, they die. If they're resistant to pests, they thrive. And when you have plants that die, you just replace them with other plants from seed. You probably know this, but if you have an apple tree and you take the seeds and you plant the seeds, you're not going to get exactly the same type of apple as the parent tree. You're going to get some variety. Most of the time it's crab apples. But maybe one out of every 100 or every 500, you're going to get a delicious apple that's drought resistant and pest resistant and disease resistant. And that apple is going to be awesome. And that's what you want. You want these awesome apples and nut trees and berry shrubs that don't require any input at all from you. And you want to move away from your annual garden into perennials, into a oak savanna where you've got species of fruit and nut trees that mulch themselves and take care of themselves. So all you need to do is harvest it. When you have your animals, you want to let them weed the property for you in between rows of trees so that it feeds them. The fruit and nuts from the trees drop and they feed all year round. This is how you stun your property. You plant perennials and different types of trees and fruits that you don't have to maintain. Research keyline design. It's a way of harvesting water on your property so that you can collect it and store it so that your water doesn't ever run into drought. Between keyline design to keep the water in your property and stunning your property, moving to perennials and planting from seed so that you get these different varieties that are naturally drought and disease and pest resistant, you can move away from your reliance on annuals into a system that takes care of itself. That the trees and the shrubs and the plants feed the animals so you don't have to feed them, and the animals feed you and help take care of the weed and pest pressure. You've got to set up an ecosystem where it doesn't require you to water, weed, mulch, or worry about insects or disease. Then you've got a property that requires very little maintenance, has incredibly high yield, and gives you the time you want to enjoy life. Homesteading should not be an exercise in slavery to your land. You should be reaping the benefits, and nature has designed a system that doesn't require manual input. Think of the woods. Think of how many fruits and nuts and berries and seeds are available in the woods. All sorts of animals exist without any human input. Animals, trees, plants, they exist without any human input. The ecosystem takes care of it all. And the closer we can get to mimicking the ecosystem, the less work we need to do. Our problem is we really like tomatoes and cucumbers, pumpkins, and all of the good annuals. And we should have some of those, right? Nothing wrong with having a small annual garden. But we can get most of our calories and feed our livestock from perennials. And we can get the species that are disease and drought resistant if you plant from seed and let the strongest thrive and let the weakest die. So that's the concept behind Stun. Check out Mark Shepard's book. I believe it's called Restoration Agriculture. Look into Keyline Design from P.A. Yeoman. Check out some YouTube videos there. And try to move to a perennial savanna, oak savanna ecosystem. That's where I'm going. I'm going to take you guys on the journey with me, and we'll see how we can implement it on my property. Hope you guys enjoyed this tour of my friend's property. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be posting new videos and updates on 2ac3.com/Copeland. Check us out.